Hello, this is Scott Conway, PhD, JD with Mothers Raising Sons. Of course, mothersraisingsons.com. Obviously, if you're here and you're at our website, you can just find this video posted somewhere. You already know where we are. And this is the second lesson in attention deficit. Now, we have an entire program called the Attention Deficit Solution. And we're not talking about if there's an actual brain disorder. If there's an actual brain disorder where the brain is something that biologically off kilter, biochemically off kilter, that there's been perhaps some actual testing that there is something physiologically wrong, medically wrong with the physical brain. Obviously there's going to be some problems, but what we're talking about here is the places where the attention deficit issue is arising out of training and conditioning. And this is one of the factors of modern life. Back when I was a kid, maybe when you were a kid, certainly when our parents were kids, the world was very different, and our brains didn't get trained into this attention deficit issue nearly the same level it gets trained to these days. Today what I'm going to talk about is video games. Now, last time we talked about television, so hopefully, since you saw that video, you sat down and you watched at least one program for at least a few minutes, and you probably found that 4 out of 5 times the scene shifted in 5 seconds or less. Chances are even reasonably high that you may have found 9 out of 10 times it shifted in 3 seconds or less. Depending upon what program you're watching, it might be a very rare thing to have any clip last longer than 5 seconds. That we had one mother did this experiment, and what she found is she found an 11-second clip, one 11-second clip. And as she's watching, she's going, but all of the rest of them are happening in 2 and 3 seconds. This is crazy. I had no idea what my kid was learning. And just understand that that's training the brain. And of course, I'm not saying no television. All I'm saying is be aware of it. And as you're aware of it, you may limit the television, or you may at least have some stronger controls on the television. Now, today we're talking about video games. Now, video games do a lot of the brain training in a very similar way. That the child doesn't have to go anywhere. The child doesn't have to move. Everything moves for the child. So if you have a kid playing video games, you may find your child might run along streets, race along roads, climb up buildings, go inside things, explore caves, all sorts of things in a given video game. Angles will change, things will circle around, and the child never has to move. Everything moves for the child with small finger movements. The thumb moves around, hits different buttons, maybe the index finger, whatever it is, and everything moves for the child. And so that's something else to be watching, is as the child gets trained that I don't have to do much, everything else is supposed to switch for me. Now, also related to both television and video games, and of course we're back to the training thing, is to also be aware that the more a child's life is governed by screens, which wasn't an issue in our grandparents' day, but it is an issue now. The more your child's life is governed by screens, the more your child's field of vision stays in one spot. That we have these days been running into more and more children that are having eye tracking problems. Now, what this means is that the eyes have trouble tracking physical objects. And one big thing we ran into is the eyes have trouble focusing way up over there and then focusing down here, focusing way up over there, and focusing back down here. Now, the result of that is when they get to the level of school, which can happen in lower grade school these days, where the teacher's writing something up on the board, it's way over there, and the child's supposed to write something down over here, that the eyes aren't accustomed to making that focus shift. The eyes aren't used to looking at a world that's here, a world that's out there, and then a world that's here again. The eyes get used to I just stay here. I don't have to move. I don't have to do anything. Everything moves for me. My eyes just stay here. And what ends up happening is the eyes become conditioned to only really be able to see well right there. And the eyes lose the ability, just because of a lack of practice, of looking long, looking close, looking long, looking close, looking at different ranges, seeing things move along, noticing real-life perspective. And so that's one of the things to keep an eye out for and to be aware that it's happening. And again, I'm not saying no video games, no television. Obviously, my kids play video games, my kids watch television, but there's some controls on it, there's some limits on it. And we understand that too much of that can cause some of these problems, or at least exacerbate some of these problems. And so it balances out with some real world, real life things interacting with physical reality instead of screen reality, so so that their eyes have to adjust and their eyes have to track. And things don't move for the child. If you want to see what's around, you actually have to, like, a simple thing is turn your head. If you want to know what's behind something, you actually have to physically walk over there and go around the corner and see what's behind it. It's not just a matter of moving your fingers on buttons or just waiting for the camera to do it for you. So this is Scott Conway of mothersraisingsons.com. We're talking about a handful of the lessons out of Attention Deficit Solution. The Attention Deficit Solution is one of the programs you get as a member of mothersraisingsons.com. And all of these programs are available to you, whether you need them for yourself or your child, or well, maybe for another adult in your life too, because I have had adults get the Attention Deficit Solution from time to time for themselves, as well as, of course, getting them for their children. And as a member of mothersraisingsons.com, this is part of your download package. This is Scott Conway. We'll see you back for the next lesson as we continue talking about attention deficit.